My friend and I ended up falling out because she decided to drop her baby off unannounced to go meet up with a man on Instagram that she met less than a month ago. So last weekend she texted me. She's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? I tell her, I say, I'm just relaxing, just chilling. I'm in the house for tonight. She says, okay, perfect, because I need a favor. Now, before I'm even able to text her back and say, hey, like, what's up? Like, what do you need? She texted me. She said, oh, I'm dropping a baby off at 6 o'clock. Now, granted, I've kept her son before on multiple occasions, and it was no problem before, but it was always planned. There was never anything abrupt or saying that I'm dropping the baby off. It's always, can I drop the baby off? So that was a red flag right there for me. So I called her because I'm a little bit confused, because what do you mean you're dropping your son off to me? So when we get on the phone, she said, yeah, I met this guy on Instagram a couple weeks ago. He wants to go out for drinks. I really need this night out. Now, granted, being a single parent, I totally understand, like, you need a night out, but don't assume that I'm going to just keep your kid because we're friends. Now, if it was an emergency, cool. But to go meet a man that you just met, no. So when I tell her, I'm like, don't assume that I'm available to keep the kid because I'm staying in the house tonight. She says, well, I thought that you wouldn't mind because you always said that you love him. Love doesn't matter. So at this point, she proceeds to drop her son off. And I kind of just let it fly. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll keep the kid, but this doesn't need to happen again. So she tells me, she's like, I'll be back around 10:30, not too late. Cool. So mind y'all, she said she was going to be back around 10:30. Why she didn't get back to my house until 1:30 to get her kid? So at this point, the baby is asleep. She comes in laughing, joking, being loud, and everything like that. I literally have the baby in one arm and the baby stuff in the other because you were supposed to be back a couple hours ago. So the fact that you would literally sit there and waste my time like that, I don't appreciate that. So she tells me, she has the audacity to say, girl, please don't be mad. The night went a little bit longer than I expected. You damn skippy. So I tell her, I said, a little bit late. You were supposed to be back at 10 o'clock. She sits there and she rolls her eyes at me as if I'm the crazy one. So as I'm standing there pissed off, she literally says, oh, I didn't think it was that serious. I just needed a break. You're the parent, not me. Now, this is the feather that broke the camel's back. Do y'all know she had the audacity to tell me, you don't even have kids. You don't know how hard it is to be a single parent. I thought you would be a little bit more supportive of me instead of judging me. Excuse me? Okay. So at this point, I didn't want to argue. The baby was sleeping. It's late. Go ahead, take your baby. Be safe. Keep it pushing. I wake up the next morning. Do y'all know this bitch blocks me? She blocks me on everything. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't even use Twitter. TikTok. Every single thing that she could think of, she literally blocked me. So at this point, I kind of leave it alone because me and my friends were big on communication for the most part, I thought. So at this point, I kind of just give her space. Keep pushing. But this is what got it. Tell me why my cousin sends me a screenshot of something that a bitch posted on her Facebook. The meme says something about real friends help friends without keeping score. But the caption is what got it. The caption reads, y'all moms know sometimes we need one night to breathe. If you don't get it, you're not my tribe. Hashtag single mom life. Hashtag cutoff season. For one, bitch, don't nobody use hashtags like that. You're pressed. So now I'm the bad guy. Okay. So mind you, this was last weekend. So Thursday night, I go to Target, right? I run into a mutual friend. She asked me, she said, oh, have you talked to such and such? And I'm like, no, because, I tell her what happened. She looks at me as if she's seen a ghost. So she just looks at me with a confused face. She goes, that's so crazy because she's sitting up here telling people that you begged to babysit and then decided to switch up when she dropped the baby off. What? Anybody know me? I'm not begging nobody to babysit their kids. Well, auntie, come get the kids? Yes, but never begging. At this point, I just bust out laughing in the store because this bitch deserves an Oscar. So basically, that was that. And mind you, this wasn't like our first run-in. So at this point, the friendship is kind of canceled. So don't get over here and say, oh, you're telling your friends business, because no.
Okay, I guess this is a story time that everyone didn't really realize when I first blew up, but need it now. My father and my grandmother were in an ancestral relationship. My father and my grandmother on my father's side, so it's his biological mother, grew up doing stuff together. And then when my father finally married his first wife, and his first wife found the fuck up, she left. The entire family lied to me and said that my father left because she was an alcoholic, his ex-wife. No, it's because his ex-wife found out that my father and his mom were fucking. So then he married my mom, forced my mom to have me within a year, locked us both in a trailer home. My dad sexually abused me. And then I also found out that he was fucking his mom. And my grandmother would always call my father her first true love and her husband. And when my parents finally divorced when I was 16 years old, he went back to his mother's house and continued his relationship with her. And his family can say that I'm lying, but I have proof. She knows too. She literally knows too. And now that my father's dead, I finally feel free to talk about this because he sexually abused me for 16 fucking years, took child pornography of me. My entire father's family is aware of this. My grandmother and my aunt are both aware. My aunt, okay, my father died of a stroke. But before he died of a stroke, he had multiple strokes and he was basically like a vegetable. During that period of time, My aunt made him rewrite the will so everything goes to her, which is not legal because my uncle, who's not married in the family anymore, contacted me and told me that he was the executor on the will, so everything she did is completely illegal. So I had to get my father's death certificate, found out that he died from complications of diabetes. Great, because I hated that motherfucker. He raped me for 16 fucking years. And there's video proof of it. Oh, and fun part, my mom was actually taking the videos of everything. My life is so fucked up, by the way. So that is why I coped on the internet, reading my mom's text messages, because my mom was recording me getting raped by my father every single night for 16 fucking years. So to everybody who is saying that I was racist reading my mom's messages, no, I was coping because my mom was so fucking abusive to the point where I do not talk to that bitch anymore whatsoever. And she made money off of my child body, But unfortunately, with the statute of limitations, it's too late for me to press charges. But you know, it's not too late for me to finally tell the entire world the fucking truth. The entire fucking truth. Roland Leon Doyle was my biological father, and he raped and sodomized me for 16 fucking years. And I am more than happy that that motherfucker is dead. And he is the reason why I am as fucked up as I am. But the reason why my grandmother is still alive, Virginia Fannis. And she is the whole reason why my entire family got fucked up. She locked me in a fucking cage. She touched me too. And this is my first time finally being honest about it because she touched me too. And no one in that family would believe me except for my one cousin. And I even haven't said it. I don't have to say it to her because I know she knows. I know that family knows the sick things my father and my grandmother did to me because they were doing sick things to each other. And my mom knew all of it. So yeah. When you're wondering why I don't talk to any of my family, it's because they should all be in jail. So thank you. That is your story time. If you're wondering why I posted all those messages, my mom and I, that's why. Because I needed someone else to be like, this is not fucking okay. Because it wasn't. None of it was. Unfortunately, my mother's still alive, so I'm not going to say her name, but people know where she is. She works a public job now. My father's dead. Alhamdulillah. He died last year, and I finally feel free. To really say all of this. So, welcome to my fuck of a life.
Today's episode of Why I Hate Working in Retail because y'all are fucking dumb. This is a story about when I worked at H&M and shoplifters came and messed up the store. Literally. And before I say this, I don't care what anybody does, you know, how you make your money or why you choose to do the things you do. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just here to, you know, work and that's it. You know, whatever you choose to do in your spare time, that's on you. So, this particular day, it was me and two other managers. It was a full staff that day. Like, we was fully staffed because at this location, this H&M was pretty big. So, we had a lot of staff all the time. So, and it was the middle of the day. So, you know, like, that transition from the morning manager, then the night manager's there, and then if you have a middle manager, so everybody was there. So, boom. We see these three girls walk in and they got big ass bags, literally. But you know, they could have just been doing a bunch of shopping. That ain't my business. I don't be clocking people. Like, I don't be pocket watching people or nothing like that. Like, I'm here to do my job and go home. So they walk in with, it's three girls and they all each got one big ass bag. So boom. They all go their separate ways. I'm watching because I'm just a very what the fuck is the word? Observational. I'm just very observational, goddammit. I sit back and I observe. You know, I don't do too much talking. I may yap a lot on here, but in real life, I don't really talk like that. But yeah, so I'm just sitting back, observing, scoping out the scenery, you know, scoping the scenery out. And I see them all go separate ways. Mind you, the other manager that's in the middle of the store, he peeping too. I'm watching him peep them. I'm in the front, he's in the middle. I seen them when they came in. He seen the one girl go past him, and now he's peeping the whole scenery out. So I let him do his thing because he was one of those people like, you ain't finna steal at his store. Me personally, this is not my merchandise. I'm not finna chase nobody through the store. I'm not finna do none of that. So, but him, you wasn't finna steal at his store. Okay? And, hey, do your thing. I ain't here to step on nobody's toes. Do your thing. If you want to be super cop for the day, you can be super cop for the day, boo. You can be anything you put your mind to. So, boom. The other two girls, I see them, and they're walking with each other, but they're coming out of the men's section. They don't have the bags anymore. We later found out that they stashed the bags in between, like, the fixtures and shit, so, like, we wouldn't see the bags. But, like, you think ain't nobody gonna notice y'all walking in with 3 big ass bags? But anyway, so the two girls, they stashed their bags. They're walking out of the men's section, coming to in my section where I'm at. I look out the corner of my eye, I see the other manager. He is talking to the third girl. He's talking to the third girl. And you know, in customer service, you're not allowed to, like, if you think somebody is stealing, you're not allowed to just go up and be like, hey, are you stealing? You're just supposed to, like, do regular customer service. Like, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? And hopefully, in hopes that will deter them from stealing, because, you know, they see you on their ass. So he goes and he does his thing, and he's asking her, because I can hear, he's asking her, like, you know, do you need any help finding anything? And she immediately gets mad. Oh, ain't nobody trying to steal out your store. Ain't nobody trying to steal out your store. You've been following me the whole time. Ain't nobody trying to steal out your store. So I feel bad for my manager, because he literally was just doing his job. Like, he was just doing his job, and the girl is going off on him. The girl is going off. Ain't nobody trying to steal. I don't need to steal this shit. Ain't nobody trying to steal. That's like a red indicator that you're literally stealing. If you have to do all that, you're 9 times out of 10 you're stealing. Because he ain't come up to you, and he ain't come up to you and be like, oh, you stealing. Like, he literally just came up and asked you, did you need anything? You peeped him watching you the whole time, because you knew you was doing shit you wasn't supposed to be doing. So what you mad at him for? So I felt so bad, and I get on the phone and I call security. But everybody knows that mall security ain't worth a damn. Mall security ain't worth a damn. They can barely do anything. So I call mall security. It takes them forever to get to the goddamn store. So he's not arguing with the girl, but the girl is arguing with him. So the other two girls walk up to the girl that's in the middle, and she like, come on, y'all, we about to go. Come on, y'all, we about to go. So the one girl is looking at her like, what about the bags? Like, girl, we stashed the bags. Like, you can tell she's giving her that look like, what about the bags? Like, we not leaving here without these bags. So next thing you know, the two girls, they dip off again. They dip off. I'm literally watching all of this happen, but I'm waiting on the security, because I'm not finna chase nobody down. This is not my stuff. So the two girls, they dip off to go get the bags. The one girl, my manager, he is not letting her go past him. Like, he's not, you know, like, holding on to her or anything, but he's still going back and forth with her until the security gets here. So next thing you know, I see security walk in through the men's section, because the girls hid the bags in the men's section. I see security walk in through the men's section. The girls take off running. The security takes off running after them, grabs after the bags, and rips the bags. So as the girls are running, the clothes from all the other stores are literally spilling throughout the whole store. Like, they stole a lot of shit. Like, they got everybody. They got everybody. So the security rips the bags. The clothes are spilling through the whole store as the girls are running. Okay, so how our store was set up, we had 3 ways to enter and exit. The kids' exit was right by the door. Like, right by the door. You get out of there, you're home free. So, but the store was so long, it's going to take you a while to get to that kid's exit. So boom, when the girl that's arguing with my other manager, when she sees the other 2 girls running, she takes off running. So she takes off running. She's the closest one to the kids section. So boom, they running. Next thing you know, the girls all scoop up the whole kids table. They said, we leaving here with something. They said we leaving here with something. Okay. They scoop up the whole kids' table and run out the door. Clothes spilling from their arms as they run. They knock down the fixtures trying to stop the security from catching them. So they're knocking down fixtures. Whole fixtures full of clothes, trying to get away with the goddamn clothes from the table in their hands. They got away, to my knowledge. To my knowledge, they got away. Because when the security came back in, they didn't come back in with nobody. So I'm guessing they got away. But yeah, that day was crazy, because when I tell you the store looked a mess, we literally was picking up clothes from other people's stores, separating them so that we can go and give them back their clothes. Like, it was literally clothes all over the store. The kids area was trash. We had to pick up and refix everything off the floor. Like, then you got to do a report. You got to try to estimate how much was stolen, what items were stolen. You got to do a report with the security, everybody asking you questions. Oh, what did you see? You got to go review cameras. Like, it's just a lot. That's why I said, however you make your money, do that. But do that on your own time. Please don't do it on my shift. If you gonna come be a shoplifter, let me give you my schedule so you can not come when I'm scheduled, please, because that was just a lot. We had to pick all that shit up. We had to fix everything. Like, it was just too much. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody is shoplifting, it's going to cause a scene. It's going to cause a scene. And it's just all that for what? Like, we just want to come to work, do our job, and go home. That's why I said, don't do that on my shift. You could do it on anybody else's shift, but don't do it on mine, please. Please, just let me have a peaceful day. But yeah, that was the time shoplifters came in and literally destroyed the whole store. And yeah, I was just pretty much sitting back watching for most of it, because what am I supposed to do? I'm not Superman. Y'all did not hire me to fight crime, okay? I was not hired to fight crime. That's not my job. I don't get paid for that.
Story time on how I found out that my ex-best friend had the biggest obsession with my boyfriend and how she still does. Okay, so this all started when we were still friends, and it started off pretty innocent, so I feel like I was blindsided. She would just, like, always ask me about him and, like, little innocent questions like, oh, like, what is he doing today? Or how is he? And, like, stuff like that. And I honestly didn't think anything of it, because I was just like, oh, she's just being a good friend, like, making conversation, caring about my boyfriend. And then she followed him on, like, all his social medias and started liking all of his Instagram posts. To me, that's, like, still not weird, because I'm just like, oh, like, she's my best friend, like, she's just, like, supporting, you know? And then she started, like, commenting on his Instagram posts, and then started commenting on his TikToks. And I feel like this is when I started getting, like, kind of weirded out, because I was like, what is the, like, what's the correlation? And I don't know, but just me, like, when my friends have a boyfriend, I don't, like, conversate with him. I don't have any connection with him unless if it's through her. Unless if there's, like, a specific situation or I need to ask him about her, like, I don't know. And then he started to be, like, the topic of all of our conversations, and he would be, like, all we would talk about. And, like, 9 times out of 10, she would always start the conversations. And then I pointed it out to my boyfriend, and I was like, do you just see this? Do you notice this? Like, am I being crazy? Do you think that she has, like, a little crush on you? And then my boyfriend was just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I don't really see it, like, it being that big of a deal. But, like, if it makes you uncomfortable, I understand. And then this is where it got weird and where it got, like, kind of serious. I was hanging out with another girl and my best friend and my boyfriend, and then after the hangout, she goes, do you notice how, like, so-and-so always has something to say about him? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I've been literally saying this for weeks. And my boyfriend was just like, maybe I'm overthinking it. But when someone else came to me and said that she thinks that a girl is being weird about my boyfriend, like, I'm like, what? And then this is where it got really weird and where it escalated. She asked him to hang out with her one-on-one. Like, she had him added on Snap, and, like, that wasn't weird to me because, like, she added him, like, when we first started dating, and I wasn't weirded out about it because, like, I feel like every best friend does that. And it's just kind of like, what if she needs to get in contact with him, like, about a surprise or, like, whatever the case may be. But then she snapped him and was like, hey, do you want to go get, like, ice cream or something? And he screenshotted, my boyfriend screenshotted it and sent it to me, and he was like, what the hell? And I was like, what the hell? That is so freaking weird. And basically my boyfriend called her out and was just like, that is so weird. Like, please don't text me anymore. Like, I am not comfortable with it. And I asked her about it at the next hangout. I was like, what is going on? Like, why are you texting him so much and all this and all that? And she was like, it's not even anything. Like, I just want to, like, be his friend and da-da-da-da. And I look over on her phone and she has him pinned on her Snapchat. And I'm just like, what? That is just so weird to me. And just with that alone, and just with her, like, always talking about him and stuff like that, like, that's an obsession at that point.
My doctor told my husband, 30 male, and I, 31 female, that our baby has many birth defects. I want to abort, but he does not. This was a planned baby, and I'm absolutely devastated. Me and my husband met in college and have been married for 6 years now. We have one son who is now 4 years old. I know some people are going to wonder, but yes, we did discuss our moral and political views before even getting engaged, and we're both pro-choice. When we were 21 and 20, we made a stupid mistake that ended in a pregnancy. We are both flat broke and not at all ready for kids. I decided to terminate, and he fully agreed with me and supported me. He loves our son so much and is an amazing father. He confided in me that he loved the idea of having a daughter as well. Luckily, we're in a good financial place, so I agreed and we started trying for baby number 2. We conceived fairly quickly and were overjoyed. We also soon discovered that we're having a girl. My husband was so excited. As soon as he was told that, he went all out and started to plan her nursery. He asked our son to help him pick which shade of pink he wanted, which crib to get, and what the theme should be. It was all so adorable. I don't want to reveal any personal medical history, so forgive me for being vague with the descriptions. At our last doctor's visit a few days ago, we were given the news that our daughter has severe birth defects. They think that she could possibly survive the birth, but any life that she gets to experience will be painful for her. There have been medical cases of babies with the same conditions to survive from early childhood to even the teenage years, rarely. These poor children suffer with so much pain and are uncomfortable their entire lives. They are very low functioning and need around-the-clock care, as well as several uncomfortable surgeries to try and give them a better quality of life. We were both heartbroken and cried for hours together in the car. Then we drove home in silence. Neither of us said anything until my husband began to quietly mumble his thoughts. He was going on and on about how we needed to schedule another doctor's appointment so we know what medical equipment we need to buy for her. We should renovate the nursery again so we could care for her more easily. He said that he'd definitely have to talk to his boss so he can take a longer paternal leave. He wants to be by her side in the NICU until we can take her home. He talked about how we'd have to ask his mom to babysit our son more often while she's a newborn. He even said that maybe we could sell one of our cars, move to a smaller house, and take our son out of private school so we'd have more money to pay for our daughter's care. I was silent until he asked me what I thought. I was blunt and said that I think we should terminate the pregnancy. Now I feel bad for saying it that way, but I was still frazzled from the news. This made him very upset. He began to cry and ask why I don't want our daughter, even with disabilities. I mentioned our previous abortion. He said it was different because it was unplanned and we had no way to take care of the child. Now we're in a pretty good place financially, so theoretically we could shoulder the cost of our daughter. I have a bit of personal history with this type of situation. My best friend in high school was at my house all the time because her parents were way too busy with her severely autistic older brother. They did love her, but she was pushed to the side her entire childhood. I told him the story. He said that we'd do better by our son and daughter. My best friend's parents were stupid for having a second kid after they already had a disabled one. He then seemed hopeful for a minute and asked if I was just afraid. He promised that he'd be by my side the whole time and we could do this together. I told him it's not about fear. Our daughter will be in pain constantly if she's born alive. It would be a short and painful life for her. I love this baby so much already. I don't want her to suffer like that. He began to yell that even if she doesn't live long, we could still pour our hearts and souls into making her life as fulfilling as possible. I didn't respond as he stormed inside. It's been a couple of days now and he won't even look me in the eyes. He sits in the nursery for hours. Our son is very confused. I know he's grieving, but I really don't want to go further with his pregnancy. I love him so much. I don't know what to do. After I made my original post, my husband and I rushed to get a second opinion. Nothing changed as it was still our original diagnosis. Once I learned that, I scheduled the termination for as soon as physically possible. I didn't tell my husband at first. He kept on raving about how we could give her as much love in her life as we can. I feel bad for this now, but I snapped and angrily told him I was terminating the pregnancy, that I know how he feels, but I will not allow my daughter to suffer just because he wants to love her. He was very angry with me after I put my foot down. After he realized his pleading wouldn't change my mind, he didn't speak a word to me. I was terrified that he'd go and leave me all alone with the scraps of our family. I tried to explain it to my son, but I think he still doesn't understand. Then, the night before the procedure, he stepped into my room and apologized for everyone and promised to be more supportive of me from now on. I was so happy and relieved I started to sob and he held me all night. My original plan was that my mom would drive me to the hospital. Then, once it's done, a close friend would take me home. Since it was only the night before, he said he couldn't miss a full day of work, but really wanted to drive me home. I agreed to let him, and then the procedure was done in the morning. My son is having a long sleepover with my best friend's family. I don't want him to see me like this. The next morning, the termination was done. It went fine with only minor physical pain, but the emotional toll was crushing. After I was done, he didn't show up to get me. I waited for hours and he wouldn't answer any of my calls. I ended up having to call a friend out from work to take me home. When we got there, I just saw one note on the counter saying he can't do this. What the fudge? He left you? A few of our daughter's special toys were removed from her nursery. My entire life has fallen apart in a matter of days. I asked my mom to watch my son for a little while. I still can't contact my husband. Everything feels so pointless. My boyfriend confessed something horrible. I really don't know how to start this. I, 26 female, have known my boyfriend Nate, 26 male, for 7 years. We met and dated from ages 19 to 22. Right when the pandemic hit, we had been together 3 years. It had been hard. Someone extremely close to us committed suicide, and we both just lost ourselves in grief. We eventually agreed we were not in the place to continue our relationship and went our separate ways. I was heartbroken in more ways than one. He was the love of my life, my best friend, my rock, and I was his gem, something he would call me. Losing our friend was hard as hell. I ended up isolating myself from everyone. I cut off all of my old friends, got a new job, tried my best to move forward with life. I dated around. No one really gave me that spark. I ended up dating someone who abused me, emotionally, mentally, physically, tried to leave several times. He knew where my parents lived and continued to show up and win me back. I finally decided I had enough. My parents' house wasn't a safe option to flee, so I left to my brother's, 40 minutes away instead. Wouldn't you know it, Nate lived right down the street from my brother. We bumped into each other and instantly connected like we had never been apart. I told him about my situation and he offered to have me stay at his place while I get back on my feet. Nate traveled often, and since he and his ex split, he didn't have a steady person to watch his cats, so I agreed. It took almost a year, but Nate and I decided to start dating again. Nate and I had been through a lot of the same trauma throughout our lives. That's how we connected originally. We just understood each other like no one else did. We were both abused by one of our parents growing up, both homeschooled, both of us had trauma from being molested as kids by people we trusted. The similarities we share are eerie. Dating Nate again has been the safest I felt in my life. I just feel at home. He really has been my rock. My father got diagnosed with terminal cancer a few years ago, and Nate has held my hand through it all. Nate's mom died from cancer when he was a kid. He has been such a big support, holding me as I cry, giving me reassurance as I deal with losing the only good parent I have. I've been a mess. My siblings have been there for me as well, but due to how our mother abused us, there has been a rift as our father is still together with her. I am the only child that will spend a significant amount of time with him. Nate has supported me every step of the way, staying with me at my parents', helping them around the house, making time to be there for them, often spending most of our weekends with my parents. I'm scared. Where does this get bad? This weekend wasn't any different. We spent the day with my parents. My father wasn't feeling well, so him and my mother went to bed, as did Nate and I. As we were settling into bed, we ended up sleeping together. No big deal. After the deed was done, we were cuddling. I was stroking his skin with my fingertips, as I often do, and out of nowhere, he grabs my hand and puts it on his crotch. Again, not a big deal, just figured he wants round two, so I play along. Sometime into playing with him, he whispers something to me. I position my head a little closer and say, Ooh, I see where it got bad. With hitched breath, he says, did you know that when you're married, you can't testify against your husband in a court of law? I was confused AF by this, but just said, Like seriously, what the F am I supposed to say or think with that when I'm in the middle of playing with him? He continued and said, when we are married, I want you to do blank and blank to girls. I was like, okay, girls like how old? 18? He seems a little f***ed up. We aren't even that old, and he wants a younger woman brought into this relationship. Ouch. Then it hits me. What if he means younger girls? So I asked him, how young? He said 10 or 11. Oh my God, what the fudge? I stopped right there. What the actual name? I just got quiet and he tried to tell me not to stop, and I just didn't know what to do, and I froze in that moment. He knows I was abused as a kid. He was abused as a kid. Oh God. I told him to go to sleep and I rolled over. I've just been thinking about if there were any signs. He always said he loved my womanly curves and even encouraged me to gain weight. He said he wanted kids with me. I said I wanted a boy. He said he thinks he'd rather be a girl dad. It's all confusing. I remember we went to the beach a few months back and had a conversation on the car right there. It was along the lines of, do you think people attracted to kids can be rehabilitated, or is it hardwired in them forever? We had been listening to a podcast that mentioned MAPS, minor attracted person, so this wasn't out of the blue question, but the tone of it was. I don't know what to do. I've been in our apartment stress cleaning for most of the day, and now I'm writing this. I love this man, or loved him. I don't know at this moment in time. Is there something I can do? Should I talk with him about this? Ask him to go to therapy? Ask him if he was joking? Part of me is hoping it's just some weird kink talk. I think I'm in shock over this. Am I stupid for wanting to get him help and not leaving right away? I just needed to get this off my chest as I feel disgusted since I woke up. Just hoping it was a bad dream, but I know it wasn't. He really said those things. Any and all advice is appreciated.